Do I have to do anything here?
No.
Headphones? Or we're
No.
just kicking it?
Yeah, we're fucking done. I mean, if you want to pull that down and angle it, however you want. Yeah.
Cool.
This is
I think we're good. We're here. We're
this is
there.
the setup.
Wow, you even provide an iPhone charger.
I got you. I got you set up.
Fuck, dude.
It's a little bit more set up than the last time that you were here when we originally did it, and it's not as cold.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
It was fucking freezing.
Yeah. It was fucking freezing. Yeah.
It was I mean, I moved in here in like February, and it was pretty rough. Like once I started to get people in here to start doing stuff, I was like, holy shit. That's why I like the original footage. Like you could see my hands in my pockets and all that stuff. It was just
we were pretty bundled up.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah.
Now it's different because it's fucking super hot in here. It's hot as shit.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that bad considering how hot it is outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, it is what it is, you know.
I put a fan on.
By the way, dude, you're wearing long sleeves, long pants. I'm sweating with all shorts on, dude.
So here's the problem, and this is kind of what's funny. So usually in here you get the occasional mosquito.
Okay.
So I don't like mosquito bites. So when I come up here, even though it's hot as shit, I'm the kind of dude to say, all right, well, I'd rather sweat a little bit than get torn up by mosquitoes.
Inside. That's how many mosquitoes will be in here.
Yeah. Well, there's like a couple little cracks here and there. Okay. And, there'll be 3 or 4 mosquitoes in here at one point. As soon as I sit down and start tooling leather work, they go for the gut punch.
Maybe there's too much stagnant water in here.
It's not in here. It's just outside, industrial area.
Right.
Dude.
Tim, I wish while you were saying that,
yeah,
if you're going to do that while you're doing your leather work, you should have one of them safari hats with the screen.
Dude, imagine.
I'm going to wear one next time I'm here.
Like next time I come in with like a beekeeper suit and I'm just like, no mosquitoes for me. Or like I have one of those like mosquito nets just hanging from like above my desk.
Yeah. Those like teepee looking mosquito nets.
The mosquito nets. Jeez. Dude, okay. Well, first off,
I
haven't seen you in, it's got to be at least 7 months, 6 months.
Right before you left for tour. I think like a couple days before that.
Yeah, it was February. That was late February.
Yeah, God damn. It's been a while.
That's why it was freezing in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where have you been everywhere in between?
Wow, that's a heavy question.
I know, because you've done, I mean, first off, you've been, hit. I feel like every time I see you post on the internet, like you're in a different spot. Like you're always on the move.
I'm generally not home for more than 4 days at a time.
Which is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I feel that.
I've been home for I think 3 or 4 weekends this whole year.
Wow.
And that might be including this coming weekend.
Wow.
And even if I am home for 4 days, there's a lot of weeks in there too where I'm just not even home for weeks,
Yeah.
But I guess since I last saw you, if it was February, I don't know if it would have been before or after Mama Tried, but I've basically been everywhere from Milwaukee to Mexico and everything in between.
Did you do EDR?
Did EDR?
Wow.
Yep.
That's something that I've always wanted to do, and the fact that they do it every 2 years, obviously it gives a lot of people the chance to, prepare for it and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I'm always on tour in May, because it's usually late May, correct?
Usually first or second week of May.
Okay. Yeah. So it's early May.
Usually early May.
Usually I'm gone. Like this time in May, I was home for a little bit, but I was gone. I was gone from late May, mid to late May to early June, and then late June through early July through mid July. I've been gone. I think home since I saw you. I want to say I've been home 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 weeks since I saw you total.
Wow.
Since February.
Right.
And it's
total.
now September. Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I never really thought of it, but I guess for bands, like, the spring into the summer season is, like, when everybody's touring.
Yeah.
Is that why you say you're always
Yeah.
gone
Oh, yeah,
come
like
May?
well, usually for a long time, you had summer festivals, and you
Okay.
had, things like Ozfest and Warped Tour and Mayhem Fest. Summer shows, for some reason, just unless they're big, amphitheater shows or big, like, outdoor shows, they just don't really do as well because everybody's outside.
Right.
Everybody's doing things. They got barbecues, they got family events, they got this, that, and the other thing. But realistically, it's just like, uh, for us at least, we don't really get too many big um, chances or opportunities uh, during the summer. Like usually, summer festivals, we'll
Mhm.
just go to Europe.
Gotcha.
Europe is the big time for summer.
Is Europe and South America still the king of the giant festivals?
Yeah. So South America nowadays, not so much. Europe right now is the biggest one. We do we do um well, actually most metal bands. You have two separate runs. You have the early run and then you have the late summer run, you know. Um so usually the bigger run is the early summer run. Late summer run is a little bit less than that. But hey. But yeah, usually, you're doing summer festivals if you're in a metal band. It's just you're over in Europe.
Right, right.
Sometimes like we didn't do it for 5 years, but it's just that's the thing to do,
Right,
you know. It's a bummer cuz a lot of times I'm missing out on, Sturgis or this or that, because obviously I want to do bike stuff too.
right.
But yeah, that's usually Europe is definitely king when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah.
Did you do Sturgis this year?
No, not this year. I did it last year. Hey, dude, speaking of, the summer season,
Yes.
can I, uh can I put James Root on blast right now?
For what?
For not showing up to the block party because he's on tour.
He's not on tour right now.
Wherever he
He's
is, he said he
chilling.
can't make it.
He's chilling. Nah. Listen, I'll be very honest. That dude goes out, plays all these shows. And it's funny because like we've talked about it. The difference is for us as band guys,
Yeah,
right? When we go to or when we show up to a city, we got friends everywhere. He knows people, I know people. We're showing up to say Boston. How many friends do I have in Boston that I've known forever, right?
right.
But the problem is, and the way he put it made so much sense to me. We do this every day. We're out playing these shows every day.
Mhm.
For our friends that are around the country that aren't in bands or work regular jobs or so on and so forth, this is their one night out a week, or sorry, one night out a month.
Okay.
So like if you got kids or something like that, that's the one night out that like they get to go out, party, do the whole thing.
Right,
Imagine doing that every day with different people,
right,
right? Sometimes, and like even me, like obviously, both of us are going to be at Pat's house tomorrow night.
right,
I'll be there early.
right.
I won't be there late.
Gotcha.
Because like for me, it's I want to see friends,
Mhm.
but after a while, it's too much.
Right.
So personally, if I was him, it's like I would enjoy my time off.
Yeah, no,
You know,
I'm honestly just fooling around. Like
oh,
I
of
even told
course, of
him like
course.
we were just joking earlier, but
Which by the way, the fucking man.
oh yeah, yeah,
You,
yeah.
you know,
I even sent him a GIF. You know the
yeah,
little emoji,
yeah, yeah.
whatever. What are those things? They're
Gifts.
GIFs. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was like, we love you, but we miss you.
Of course. It's true.
But
It's true. It's I mean, I think he just grabbed a new Ducati. So if he wanted to ride to New
sick.
York, it'd probably take him an hour and a half because that thing's so fucking fast.
Yeah, well, that's what I told him. I said, dude, if you take one of those Mopars, it'll be faster than a jet.
Oh, dude. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Like it's I'll watch his stories and every time it's like, I'm like, what is that? What
Yeah.
is the new toy?
Hmm.
But yeah, so like
But the whole like going out, right?
yeah.
Like I'm taking one out of Chicken Rick's book now. Like
Yeah.
I've always done a lot of this travel, but I've really kicked it up a notch with the
Yeah.
podcast and all.
Yeah.
and it is absolutely starting to feel like work in a
Yeah.
sense, like, it's like you said, it's every fucking weekend. It's every
Yes.
fucking 5 days. You're
Yeah.
somewhere else. You're on a
Yeah.
plane. I've been on like fucking 10 planes this year, you know?
Yeah,
It's like
man.
you're on a plane, you're in a car, you're like I'm in fucking 5 or 6 days from now, I'm jumping in a car for 3 weeks
Yeah.
and I'm going on a whole nother fucking tour of the country. Like,
Yeah, dude.
you know what I mean? It's like
I know
it's
how it is.
fucking constant.
And
Not that
what's
I'm in a band, but
of
it's a
course,
very similar thing.
when you travel for a living, a lot of things are the same. You know, like
Right,
whether you're in a
right.
band or you
Or
are
you're a
a
comedian or a
comedian, flight
podcast.
attendant, wrestlers, dude,
Wrestlers are
same
nuts.
thing. Same
Yeah.
thing. When you're on the road
Wrestlers are crazy
300 days
because
a year.
they're showing up and, like, working out.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy. We're just
Yeah.
hanging out.
We're just
Yeah,
hanging.
you know,
We're hanging.
like
Those guys and girls have to make sure that they look fantastic,
Yup.
and they also have to stay in shape while performing and doing I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. You know, there's a lot of band guys and girls that, you know, go out and make sure that they go to the gym to, you
Yeah.
know, so on and so forth.
But they're not getting beat up.
Of course, but
It's a
there's a
hard
lot
life,
of
man.
people like me who are like, my working out is loading in and loading out, which don't get me wrong,
Right.
I'm lifting a lot of heavy shit, but that's not anywhere close to actually going to the gym or actually working out in order to make sure physically you are in tip-top shape.
Right.
You
Or
know?
showing up
Yeah.
and getting a stone cold stunner.
Exactly. You know, I don't get me wrong, I'd love to be one of those guys. Like, imagine those guys back in the 90s that were getting paid
Oh,
$300 to just like, hey, listen, you're gonna show up, you're gonna come out, you're gonna talk a little shit. Stone Cold's gonna come out, give you a stunner, and then you're done for the night.
right,
And I'm
right,
like, I get paid $300 to like get stunned by Stone Cold. Like,
right.
this is fantastic. I would love that.
Dude, I don't know, like, growing up, were you a huge wrestling fan?
Big wrestling guy.
Same here.
Big wrestling guy. Now, how old are you?
I'm 39.
Okay.
In fucking week and a half, I'll be 40.
Okay.
I'm basically 40.
Okay,
Let's
so
just say I'm 40.
happy early birthday.
Thank you.
I'm 34, so I'm an Attitude Era kid.
Okay.
So Attitude Era for me was like, Attitude Era is like 96 to like 2001, 2002.
Yep.
And
Stone Cold, The Rock.
Stone Cold, The
all that.
Rock, Mankind,
John Cena
Undertaker.
just coming up.
Well, yeah, Cena came out way towards the end, you
Mm.
know. But yeah, that was, Blue Meanie, all this stuff. And I also grew up with ECW stuff.
Right.
Watching ECW and WCW when they had Monday Night Wars and all that shit. So like for me, now working with certain people, it's kind of crazy being like, man, like I used to watch you when I was like 7 years old every single it was Monday, Thursday, Saturdays.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
it. And Sundays if it was a pay-per-view,
Yep.
So
Yeah, I
it's
lived for the Monday nights.
oh
Dude.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Like and then it was cool because you had like you had your back channel.
Yep.
So like or back button so that like you could switch like, oh, it's a commercial break. Let me switch to the other one.
Yep.
And then you would see what's going on in between the two factions or the two promotions. And I mean, you want to talk business. Like
Yeah.
that was the height of like entertainment business.
Oh yeah.
But it's showmanship.
Yeah.
And that's listen, there's a lot of guys nowadays that are in bands that take a lot of that and turn it into their image as is in a band.
Right. Right.
Because they
But
can
that's good business.
and it's smart.
Yeah.
It's very smart for them. Very smart to turn around and say, oh, well, I can be kind of a heel online and like talk shit online.
Right.
And it's just, it works for them and it sells and sells. People are like, oh, people hate me, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's just like nobody hates you. People just think you're an idiot.
Right.
You
right.
know, it is what
And
it is.
and especially nowadays, like people forget about it 30 seconds later.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
just, it is what it is. But yeah, honestly, man, it's so similar when you travel. All of those professions, when you travel,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
with us, you're doing it in a car or on a bike.
I do it on everything.
Exactly.
I fly. I do cars,
Yes.
fucking bikes, trains, you name it. Dude.
When you are in a position that, luckily now we're doing a bandwagon, which is like a kind of like a smaller version of a bus.
Yep.
Just doesn't have suspension, so the ride's a little rough.
Like a short bus?
No,
What do
it's
you
kind of
mean?
like it's hard to explain. When you see it, you realize it.
Okay.
But like, you know, like the big Snap-on trucks.
Yes,
Imagine
like
taking
that?
one of those, taking all of the tools out of it, and building bunks inside.
Okay.
So like they're
Like a
just
giant industrial box truck?
yeah, pretty much,
Like
pretty
something you
much.
would probably, like, equip, like, an AC or a plumbing company with,
Yes,
shit
exactly.
like
Or like
that.
you know the big trucks that for like trade shows and whatnot for motorcycle trade shows.
Yes,
It's
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like that, but there's
Oh,
9
you're
bunks.
right,
There's a
that
shower.
suspension is
Oh,
not
it's non-existent.
yeah.
But we have bunks. So like, you know, the show's over, you pack up, you go,
Mhm,
you hang out on the bunk, you eat a little bit of or hang out on the bus, you eat a little bit of food, you go lay down, you wake up in the next city.
right.
So a lot
So do
of
you guys
that
have a driver
yeah,
nowadays?
yeah, we have a driver.
Wow, that's awesome, dude.
Um,
What a step up.
and it's definitely a game changer. I
Yeah.
mean, you pay for it,
Right,
you know, and at a
obviously.
certain point, you kind of have to because you know you're getting to the point where your band is doing better, and you're like, all right, well, we have to take out a light guy.
Right,
You know,
right,
like our light girl, Corinne, like the girl that we use is phenomenal,
right.
right? And it's like, all right, well, we have to take her out. We have to take
'Cause you're
somebody
gonna pay
out.
for a light guy regardless, if it's,
Well,
like, the rental from that
but,
venue
yeah,
or
like, you
your
know,
guy,
well, you know, usually
right?
if it's a house, you know, a
They're gonna
house
charge you for
light
it though,
tech,
right?
usually not, but, like, you want somebody that knows your music. You want somebody that builds your show, and
Right,
it's an extension of your band. Same thing
right.
with a sound guy,
It's an investment
you
in your
know?
business. That's
Exactly,
really all this is
exactly,
a
you know?
business, you
Yeah,
know?
so you know, whether it's merch, lights, sound, you know, anything like that, you want an extension of your band,
Mm,
but you can't tour with 9 people in a van.
right,
It's just not feasible. Nobody can lay down, everybody's gotta sit up, you know, by the time you're paying for hotel rooms for everybody and paying for this, that, and the other, you go to Pilot and you pay for 10 showers. You know, 10 showers at Pilot's $130.
damn.
Exactly.
Oh my
You
god.
know, it's like 15 or it's like $13 a person,
Right,
12 bucks a person. So, you know, you get 10 people coming in. All right, well, that's $130. And, you know, you pile all that stuff on, you realize, well, okay, it financially, we're paying either, you know, you either pay X amount for, you know, hotels and a rental van and a trailer and, you know, food and all this stuff, or you pay sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less.
right,
Depending on how you're traveling, it might be a little bit less to just say, "Hey, fuck it. Let's do a bandwagon."
right.
You know? It's kind of funny. I keep telling people that they should rent bandwagons for motorcycle events because think of it this way. It's you know, right now I think it's like 600-700 bucks a day,
Okay,
right? If you go there, you can get certified as a driver, right? It's based out of Indiana. You fly in, those things are 10 bunks or 9 or 10 bunks, right? You split 9 or 10 bunks. You drive that thing out to Sturgis, say Buffalo Chip. You
right,
get a water and an electric hookup, right? You're paying for your RV spot,
right.
but instead of you're paying for your RV spot, but I mean, what are you paying? 600 bucks. That's less than $100 per person
Yeah,
to rent this, you know, a day, as opposed to going, all right, well, we're gonna go rent a house and it's $200, $300 per person,
right,
and there's only 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms. You know,
right.
you get 10 people, go get a bunk. You know, go to
Yeah.
pick your bunk, and
I'm into
then
the
they also have trailers, so you could trailer all your bikes out there.
yeah.
Yeah,
So is that what we're doing for Sturgis next year?
if I'm home.
That is one of my
No,
things I wanna do next year. I do wanna get to Sturgis next year.
I'm hoping to do Sturgis next year. I'm hoping to work it.
Okay.
Fingers
Like,
crossed.
play as a band, you mean?
No, 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 no. I'll be working with Jeff doing the
Oh,
VTV
okay.
stuff.
Right, right.
Shout out Jeff Holt and Dave and Maggie and the whole crew.
I think we'll see them tomorrow night, right?
Possibly, I'm not sure. I'm not 100%.
Okay.
Um, but I mean, dude, if I can get like we have a decent amount of time off next year just because we're at the end of our album cycle. But if I can get out there, I'm trying to work.
Oh, that's right. I'm an idiot too. I just realized that's like touring season for you. So it's a tough one. It's a
So
tough one.
August is touring season, but we're holding off. We're not doing festivals next year because We did festivals this year. We want to, get maybe one headliner in over there or another tour in before we do festivals. So I think we're trying to do festivals like mid 2025.
Right.
And that's the thing with being in a band at this point, we're looking a year and a half, 2 years ahead to
Right.
be like, all right, well, let's make an actual plan or like a rough plan so that, we can be kind of ahead of the curve. Because a lot of businesses don't do that. A lot of motorcycle companies don't do that either.
That's
You're
yeah.
thinking they're like, oh yeah, I'll just put out a T-shirt now or put out a part now or this that and the other
Right.
thing. It's just like, guys, like why don't you actually look at what's trending, look at who's coming up in the scene, look at what companies are doing well, and then go from there.
Right.
Everybody's kind of just like they're so behind the curve
Yeah.
with with a lot of pieces that it's like you kind of have to be you got to pay attention and be ahead of the curve.
Yeah, I mean, that's what separates the fucking pros from the Joes though, man.
Yeah.
And it's like in the arts, and when I say arts, just of any kind, music business,
Yeah.
to you name it, the arts and the trades, like blue collar trades and stuff, man. It's like you could be a great artist or a great tradesman, but it's rare that you find someone who's a great artist or a great tradesman and also a great businessman. There's
True.
usually one or the other.
It's true.
It's rare that there's both,
It's true.
and they're good at both.
So I was
I'm
watching.
personally fall into both of those categories. I'm not good
You
at
ever
the
see?
business end of
You ever see
things.
the show Suits?
No,
I know, like
never heard
I've
of it.
I've only watched a couple episodes. It was funny. I was at Mick from sorry Mick. Nick from Mad Pen.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so he was up here last weekend with our buddy Chris, and they were hanging out, and they were watching Suits. I brought lunch over. We hung out for a little bit, watched an episode or two. One of the main dudes walks up and is like, "Oh, like I want to be senior partner at the firm or whatever." And she was just like, "Do you know what Michael Jordan's record was as a player?" And he's like, "Oh, such and such, right?" And it was like, he had twice as many times wins as he had losses, right? And she was like, "All right, well, what about as a coach?" And he goes, "I don't know." She goes, "This many wins, this many losses." She's like, "Sometimes great players don't make great coaches. Sometimes great um great workmen or artists,
Right,
people that work in the field are
right,
fantastic. Sometimes they don't make good bosses."
right.
And that's a lot of business, man.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
You know what's
business.
funny too? Like another huge part of being successful in business is also knowing what you can't do
Yes.
and surrounding yourself with that proper team.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because
Oh, for sure.
some guys also can't swallow their ego enough
Yeah.
to wanna just delegate certain things. They either gotta micromanage or just can't admit that, they gotta hand that work off,
A
you
lot of
know?
people don't want
And
to
in the
swallow
end,
that
you're
pride.
better off fucking right, swallowing your pride in business is
Yes.
one of the most important things,
Of course.
knowing when to do that.
Of course.
Yeah, that'll
And
sink you.
a lot of people, like you said, a lot of people don't know when to be like, all right, well, this is out of my realm.
Right.
And that's across the board.
Oh, yeah.
Humans are very stubborn, and humans they just they want, instead of, they always want to debate each other, they always want to talk about something, but it's like it's okay to say, hey, I don't know.
Right.
And it's okay
Correct.
to go learn how to do that thing.
Right.
And especially us growing up, with say parents or teachers, that's just like, hey, how do you do this? And they're like, oh well, and it's
Dude,
like, you don't know how to do
I feel
that.
like we're the first generation of people that really has made that effort. Because
More
like
practical.
right, because our parents' generation was like that, like,
Oh yeah.
never admit you're wrong generation, you know?
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pause
Are we
this
at a
real.
half hour already?
We're at 25 minutes.
Damn, time's
Yeah.
flying,
We're at
dude.
25 minutes. So I'm just gonna stop this
Cool.
just so that it's easier. Um yeah, just a practical generation
Yeah.
of people because we've seen our parents and we've seen people in our parents' generations fuck things up so much that we're like, oh, okay, let me go do this.
Right.
So it's kind of cool to see people say, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Let me not talk about this subject because I have no idea.
Right,
You know?
right. There's still plenty
Um,
of people full of shit, though.
oh, dude, listen, being in any industry, and listen, man, being in the music industry, that's still very high.
Yeah,
Still
yeah,
very high. And being in the motorcycle industry, luckily the motorcycle industry weeds itself out real fast.
yeah,
There's a lot of people in the motorcycle industry where a lot of the bullshit, gets weeded out real fast, which
yeah.
is cool. Like it's not,
Super
you know,
bullshit is not gonna last
oh
in the
no,
motorcycle
no,
world.
especially with people. Like people, it's
Right,
just like, they'll come in for a hot second and then it's like, all right, well, you burned every single bridge along the way,
right.
realizing that every single person is just friends and wants to hang out and ride motorcycles and do this and go do all these things. It's just like, all right, well, nobody really fucks with that guy or nobody really fucks with that chick. Like, she's doing her other thing. And like even on Long Island, I've seen that. I've seen
Mm,
that happen. People coming around, they come to a couple bike nights or a couple bike events, and then you don't see them after 6 months because everybody's like, "Oh man, that dude sucks or that chick
right.
sucks." Like,
Well, I
and
think
they just
also that,
find
like,
something else to latch onto.
the motorcycle industry definitely attracts a lot of, mentally unwell people.
Oh, of
So,
course, of course, but that's
so there's a lot
any.
of coming and going, you know?
Well, yeah, that's. I mean, I'll say this. That's with
Yeah.
any um alternative culture,
Yeah,
right?
any subculture.
Any
Yeah, yeah, you're
subculture.
right, you're right.
You're talking any non-mainstream culture. Like I mean, listen, people are into music, that's cool, but like the metal and hardcore scene,
Mm.
that stuff gets weeded out real
Same
fast.
shit, right,
Yeah, because people just it's just like, all right, well, that dude's a dick.
right.
Get him out.
Do
Like
you
I'm not
think
gonna
that's
book your
why there's
band. I'm
such a
not gonna.
crossover, like metal and hardcore and all that with motorcycles
Yeah,
more than any other music?
I think so.
I think.
I think the rock and roll lifestyle or the
It's a
appeal
good
of the
way to
rock
put
and
it,
roll
yeah.
lifestyle.
There's a lot of
And
parallels with
there's a lot of
motorcycles.
parallels. A
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
parallels. And that's the thing, like, for me, when I go to motorcycle events, obviously with the exception of certain areas and whatnot, most motorcycle events that are around our age and our age group and geared towards our age group are very welcoming.
Right.
They're like, we don't care as long as you ride motorcycles and you're into motorcycles. Like, yeah, you're gonna have those guys be like, oh, that guy's on a sport bike or oh, that guy's on a Harley, like just small ribs at each other. But most of the time, like when I do events, when I would do a Tombstone ride or stuff like that, like it hasn't been, I haven't done one in shit 3 years. But you know, it was always like a hey, everybody's welcome, just no bullshit.
Right.
No attitudes, no like, oh, like I'm fucking, Mr. Cool Guy on a raced out Harley, like I'm Mr. Influencer. Like it was never like that,
Right, right.
which is cool. And I like
It's
being
kinda
able to
like the
do
only
stuff like
rules
that.
I'd like to have too. It's
Yeah.
like that, like, typical don't be a dick,
Yeah,
you
just don't
know?
be a dick,
Yeah.
And that's the cool part about like, man, working with Jeff for the last couple years and going to all these races and doing the V2 Visionary stuff, man, it's cool because everybody just hangs out.
Right.
There's a bunch of product out. I take a bunch of cool photos. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's definitely certain people that get pissed off because they don't get a trophy because, they think their bike's, the shit. And,
Right, right.
when Jeff gives the trophy to, a dude that he knows put hours and hours and hours into this bike,
Right.
it's like they get pissed off because they got more likes on their post on Instagram, you know? Like Pat, I remember when we were out in Sturgis and John.
Pat's a sore loser, is that where you're going with this?
Well, Pat's a big sore loser. No, Pat was tasked with judging the best FXR category
Okay.
out in Sturgis a couple years ago, at the hardcore show, and a couple people weren't happy with his pick because they thought their bikes were better, or they, so on and so forth. Which, don't get me wrong, the bikes looked cooler, but Pat knew the performance side of the bike that he picked.
Right.
It was a dude that he knew out of Detroit. That, I mean, it was a real deal.
Right. It wasn't just cake decorated.
Nah, it was the bike didn't look. It wasn't like this, cool hot shit. But it was a twin cam FXR, and dude got up and he was just like, "Hey man, it's a performance show. If anybody has a problem with me winning this, meet me on the track."
Right.
If it's a performance bike, there is no other test than to just, "Hey man, meet me on the track."
Right.
You can't, you can dress something up all you want, but you know how it is.
Yeah. And too, like nowadays, dude, it's like anyone can win any given Sunday. Like the bar has been so raised.
Yeah.
Like I was just at a place. I was just at a show with Pat where his chopper was in, and I was in charge of doing the chopper. Pick the best bike.
Yeah.
And best chopper, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, it's almost unfair to ask someone to do that, like as a judge. You don't even know what to pick at a certain point. You're like,
it's really hard.
There's like 10 bikes here that are the most outrageous bikes you've ever seen.
Yeah, man.
It's so hard nowadays, man.
And honestly, it comes
you can't
down.
Get butthurt if you lose.
It comes down to personal preference.
That's the other thing, dude. When you're judging art, it's like up to the beholder. It's like
exactly.
I might like that bike. You can't get butthurt because I didn't like the bike, and I don't know. Man.
It's very hard.
It's kind of a weird situation.
It's very hard to judge bike shows.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this: getting people that don't really know anybody that owns the bikes.
Right.
That would be a easier way.
Yeah. And that's hard too.
But it's hard. When you go to a motorcycle event, everybody knows each other.
Right.
Right. So, but
how are you going to pick a
to
knowledgeable guy that doesn't know anybody?
And at the same time, it comes down to such personal preference because, realistically, if I was there to judge a bike show and it's like, hey, hey buddy, pick best in show.
Right.
I'm probably going to pick a bike that's 84 or older.
Right.
I'm going to go pick that ratty panhead.
Right.
Because it's been around for, 70 years.
Right.
I'm going to go pick that, that knuckle that, has seen 150,000 miles.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to go do that.
Yeah.
Somebody else might pick a performance road glide.
Right.
So it's very hard. And like, obviously doing bike specific shows, then it's easier, or bike specific trophies.
Yeah. And quite honestly, that was what made it so hard. The one that I was judging is they were just like one best of show. And I'm like, dude, you gotta categorize
like
more
40,
than that.
40 bikes.
Yeah, dude. And you're like trying to figure out like all these rad fucking Sportster choppers. And then there was like a dozen panheads there.
Let's
you're just
be real.
like, you're not even in the same category.
Sportster choppers should never win.
Well, I mean, I did pick a Sportster chopper for that one. As fucked up as that, it was rad, dude. But it's like I don't even think that's the other part that's not even fair. Like you can't even categorize
Sportsters.
Those two.
I'll say this: Sportster choppers are underrated.
Some of them.
I've always. Some of them, yes.
Because the other problem is like Sportster choppers, dude. Like 90% of them are fucking garbage. They're just like crap, dude.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It's not that a Sportster can't be awesome.
Yeah.
It's just generally the demographic that's building Sportsters and owns Sportsters is not in the position of a guy that owns a fucking panhead or a knucklehead.
Yes, I agree.
They are capable of a higher caliber build.
Yes.
That's the problem. I mean, a Sportster could be rad. But they're just usually not.
Yes.
That's the problem.
I also believe that I do believe that somebody that invests that much money in order to buy an old big twin, they're taking it a little bit more serious.
100%.
Because listen,
you got more skin in the game.
Exactly. Like you're not turning around. Like listen, you can go buy a Sportster motor for $800.
Right.
You can go buy a frame. You can go buy these.
You could build the whole Sportster for less than the panhead engine.
Exactly. You could build a whole bike for less than that. So yes, they have more skin in the game where you're going out, you're saying, okay, I'm going to spend, $20,000 on this whole build.
Right.
And it's like, I better win.
Right.
This has to be so good that I'm going to win that $4,000 prize at this show or $1,000 prize at this show. At least get some
Right.
of your money back and say, okay, cool. Like I'm good now.
Well, I think that's what also has guys getting all fucking pissed off these days, because some of these shows are bringing some big checks now.
Oh yeah.
So when it's
Oh
like
yeah.
you just lost 10 grand,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah,
sucks,
yeah.
dude.
It's a bummer. You're not
Yeah.
just losing a trophy at a local,
Right.
at a local bike event. You're missing out on 10, 20 grand, or
Right.
you're
Right.
missing out on a free knucklehead motor, or you're missing out,
Right.
these
Could
prizes
have
are
got a
getting
124. Like,
these prizes are getting so big now
yes.
that because I will say this, the motorcycle culture in my eyes is thriving right now.
Oh, dude, we're in the heyday.
It
We're
is
in a peak.
We're 100% in a peak.
Yeah.
There's so many different events going on. There's so many things. If I wanted to, I could hit a different event every single weekend
Yeah.
and not even flinch.
Yeah. It's kind of what I do.
Exactly.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like it's hard for me to not like the few weekends I've stayed home. It's not because nothing was going on.
Yeah.
It was like, dude, I need to take care of some life right now.
Yeah. I
Like,
need to sit down and relax.
yeah, yeah. But we're certainly in a heyday, and I try
Yeah.
and tell guys that all the time. Like, in my opinion, as much as people complain about the whole world, dude, like
Yeah.
politics and all this shit, bro, right now is the greatest time to ever have been alive in human history, as
Oh, I
far as
agree.
I'm concerned.
I agree.
Like, and motorcycles are also in that same category.
It's
Right now, we're in the
yes.
fucking heyday, bro.
Yeah. We're everybody's like, oh, like, I wish things were how it used to be, especially in the motorcycle scene. Everybody's like, oh man, wish it was like it was back in the 70s. It's just like,
Right.
oh yeah, where cops would just beat the shit out of you for no reason
Right.
at a biker bar. Like, no, I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah. People
I
like
wanna
to
be able
romanticize that, but
people like to romanticize simpler times for them.
right.
It wasn't like that.
It wasn't for the most part. Now, don't get me wrong. I'd like to turn back the clock and live it for a summer or something.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
like-
Let me go back to the 70s in motorcycle culture for like 2 weeks, and then
Right.
like I like my ST.
Well, also, and that's the other thing too. Like,
The technology,
that's a whole nother game changer.
Exactly.
And it's like, dude, people also like, it's easy to be like, oh, back then it was awesome. But like, dude, they all picture like they would have been fucking the Arlen Ness or Dave Perowitz of back then. It's
Yeah.
like, bro, you would have been the same fucking idiot back then, you know? Like what are you even talking about right now?
Like this isn't Hot Tub Time Machine, bro. You're not going back thinking like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna invent Google in the
Right.
70s. Like,
right,
dude.
like, bro, I would have just went back. I would have bought all the Microsoft stock. I would have been rich. It's like, dude, you would have been the same dope you are now, working in fucking Target, like barely able to buy a fucking Honda CB750.
You know,
like, shut the fuck up, dude, please.
I forget who was
Please.
saying this, but they were talking about people going back in time.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just like 90%, 99% of the technology that people use today,
Yeah.
they wouldn't know how that works. In
Right.
order to, obviously you'll have specific things, but like, listen, I have an iPhone.
Right.
If you put me back in whatever fucking time period, I don't know how to build an iPhone, bro.
Right.
I don't know how to build, like, listen, okay, cool, cars.
Yeah.
The concept of a car, yeah, I understand. You put me back in the Middle Ages, I
Right.
can't just build a car.
Correct.
It's like people think that like you go back in time and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be king shit, like because I know all these things. It's just like, bro, you don't know how to change your tire.
Right. Right. Like and like that's the other crazy part too. People like they think if they go back in time, like you said, like they'll just have all the resources of now, but back in this like cool
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
But like, dude, no, you wouldn't.
dude, you're gonna go
you
back
would be
to
back in time, walking through the woods with
Yeah.
a fucking horse
yeah.
and fucking starving.
You're gonna
Like
go back in time and you're gonna say, wait, you guys don't have toilet paper,
all of it. Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind, man.
It's just like they picture like they'll go back in time with like a fucking iPhone in their pocket and a fucking MacBook in their backpack,
Yeah.
and they're just gonna be the king of the world.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
no, you're not.
That's not how this works.
No,
It's
no.
like that commercial. It's like, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
Right, right.
You know?
And it's like, I think people also don't think of it nowadays, just how young all of this technology is.
Yeah.
It's all basically 120 years old. The
Yes.
car was only invented 120 years ago.
Yeah.
So, like, you pick this, like, romantic time to go back. Like, fucking cars weren't even invented before 1900.
Technology.
So, and never
it's
mind
crazy.
available to the regular person.
Yeah. Technology nowadays is advancing so fast.
Oh, yeah.
That's like humans. It's hard for humans to keep up.
Yeah, we can't keep up.
It's getting hard for humans to keep up, and especially with, like I was showing you with the program before, how realistically with the podcast, eventually once I get it actually fucking working and it doesn't, piss me off to the point where I want to throw my cameras out the window, the AI will edit the podcast for you because of certain talking points. When you link certain things together, it's like, all right, well, this is a dead spot over here. So we're going to switch the camera to camera B because we're getting that audio signal. And then we're going to switch to camera A because we're getting that audio signal.
Damn.
It's just, it's wild.
So you were explaining a little before.
Yeah.
Like when you're talking,
Mhm.
being that it's picking up on your mic.
Yeah.
Whatever whatever parameters you set, it will automatically throw the camera on you.
It'll edit it. The AI will go through the editing process and say, okay, well, camera 1 and audio 1 are synced up. Camera 2 and audio 2 are synced up. So when camera 1 has an audio signal from audio 1, that's what camera will have on the screen. And then when audio signal picks up from camera 2, we're going to have that one on screen.
That's wild.
So it'll automatically export an edited podcast.
Wow.
Yeah.
I get now. I totally understand what you were trying to say before.
Yes.
I didn't put all the puzzle pieces together before.
Yeah. So
That's
now
fucking wild.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like now I'm using the Sony A7 III, which it's a great camera and I like it, but because of, I think I told you this the last time we talked, because of tax purposes, you can only record up to 30 minutes because of the way certain taxes are over in Europe, right?
Oh.
So because it is taxed as a photography camera and not a video camera, because video cameras are taxed way more, I believe.
Okay.
So to circumvent that, they say, oh, well, you can only record up to 30 minutes with this.
I always thought it was a technology limit.
No,
That's
they can
so
record.
crazy.
They can record, like cameras can record forever, but it's a software limit so that they can sell it and get taxed less.
God, that's wild.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I have a mishmash of random shinfo for that stuff. Yeah,
interesting.
but yeah, it's cool to actually be inside this room and have it not be freezing.
Right.
And
it is awesome.
Popping on the podcast. What are you doing? You said you're leaving for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Are you doing bike events? Where are you going? What are you doing?
I'm going hunting. I'm doing bike events. I'm going to a race. I'm doing podcasts.
Awesome.
I'm just doing my entire lifestyle in the next 3 weeks.
That's awesome.
I'm putting it all together.
So now, are you still working at home? You still doing home stuff?
I'm still doing everything.
Wow.
Home stuff and fucking bikes and working on the railroad.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just like, this has been the most I gotta trim it back. Like when I do my scheduling for next year, I gotta figure out how to streamline a lot of this.
Yeah.
This year was just a burnout fucking year, dude.
I'm in the same boat, man.
Like
it's been crazy.
I think you gotta find your limits though. And then like figure out how to like streamline them.
Yeah.
So you could still try to be as productive, but like somehow find yourself some free time in a life and stuff.
It's very hard to juggle, especially wanting to do business stuff, wanting to do this and that. It's very hard to juggle your free time and your vacation with your work.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, for us, we don't look at this as work.
No.
We're like, oh, let's just hang out with a buddy for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and just talk about life and talk about bullshit.
Right.
But in reality, like, us sitting down and doing this, then having to edit it, then promoting it and doing this, like, technically it's work.
It is work.
So when you go out to, say, Born Free, right? You're like, oh, I'm gonna go to Born Free for the week and just hang out. You still end up working because you're like, oh, well, I can get in a podcast here and there.
Always.
I can get in this, I can get in that, you
Yep.
know? And, when you're a hustler, that hustle does not stop,
No.
and that's where you have to kind of dial it back and say, all right, I'm gonna not do 30 events this year. I'm gonna do 10, 15 events. Make it so that you can enjoy your time while you're out there as well as work a little bit.
Yeah.
And
And
instead
that's
of doing
always going to be a tough dance, dude.
oh yeah.
It's like,
Oh
that's
yeah.
just such a hard thing to juggle.
It's a hard one.
Yeah.
It's definitely a hard one.
Yeah.
But
But
it's
also on the other hand, it's like champagne problems, man. It's like,
yes.
personally, I'd rather just do this like for a living. And when I say do this, I mean, I'm a big fan of, and this is what I'm like completely working toward, is just make my work my lifestyle.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't feel like I'm doing either.
Well, that's what I try
And
and
it'll
do.
just always be some sort of delicate balance. And what I tell myself is it's still better than crawling under a fucking train. Like, so I don't
Yes.
want to complain
Yes.
about it because
Yeah.
I've done some fucking shitty things for work over the years.
What was your least favorite job?
Least favorite job.
Least favorite job. My least favorite job lasted 2 weeks.
I don't know, man. So I've always had fun at a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. It's hard for me to even say that too, because I've always had this really insanely optimistic thirst for life.
Yeah.
Even as early as I could remember. Even when I'm in just garbage situations, and I mean, there's been times where life has been pretty crappy.
Of course.
But like, I've always just been a very happy person. Like, okay, I'll give you a shitty job I did. I worked at Party City for 2 Halloween seasons in a row.
Oof.
And as much as I hated that, I was pretty young. But as much as I hated it, dude, we had such a good time there.
Oh, I can imagine.
Like, and I ultimately got fired for riding a dirt bike through Party City. So, like, I mean, we were shredding up and down the aisles, dude.
I worked.
So it's like I hated it,
yeah.
but I had so much fun doing shit like that.
I worked at Staples, and like Staples wasn't the sickest job,
right,
but
right.
dude, I had a blast.
Yeah.
I worked with a bunch of friends of mine from from high school, and the ability to just hang out with your friends and like work, like don't get me wrong,
It's not that bad.
when a printer needed to be sold, I sold the shit out of that printer,
Right.
But the other, however many hours of just walking around, putting pencils back on the shelf, it's a bullshit job.
Yeah.
Worst job I've ever had was landscaping.
Oh, that's a tough one.
You know what's crazy? I would love to do my own landscaping, which usually I'm like, people are like, oh yeah, like, I was just watching a Michelle Wolf special where she was talking about like, now that she's in a relationship, like doing things for her boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I love doing it for him, but I don't like doing it. She's like, I love doing his laundry, but I hate doing my own laundry.
Right.
Man, a lot of people are like that, where they like doing things for other people, but doing their own stuff, they're like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Landscaping's not one of those things for me. Landscaping is like doing other people's stuff sucks.
Yeah.
And then doing your own stuff, you're like, oh yeah, my lawn looks great.
Yeah.
Worst job I've ever had. I lasted 2 weeks.
Yeah. That's like hard fucking work.
I scratched my retina from a rock kicking up from a weed whacker. I was edging a driveway, and a rock kicked up. It skipped right underneath my glasses and scratched my retina.
Damn. You're lucky you didn't go blind with that.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. I couldn't see for like 3 weeks. Or I could see, but it was like blurry for like 3 weeks.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Worst job, man. That job sucked.
Damn. Speaking of that, I guess now that I'm jogging my memory, I also was a janitor at my high school for a few summers.
Really?
They would hire you over the summers when I was like 14 or so. That kind of sucked.
I can
But
imagine.
even then, we had so much fun.
Yeah, but like, I mean,
But
listen,
it sucked.
I'll tell you what. cleaning bathrooms is not something that would be anywhere on the list of things that I would ever wanna do,
No.
you
When I
know?
started at the railroad, I did some of that.
Yeah, because
That
that's the thing.
also sucked.
Well, because humans are disgusting.
Oh, it's insane what I've seen.
Yeah,
It's
that's
insane.
I'm like, it's a hard pass for me.
Yeah.
Hard pass
Bro,
for me.
even working on trains now,
Yeah,
it's insane what you see on
I
trains.
could
It's
imagine.
so fucking crazy, dude.
I could imagine.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I've always had fun with it though. I
Yeah,
didn't post it on Instagram, but I'll send you the video.
yeah,
There's like times I got to draw the line, but
yeah.
like some of the shit I see on those trains, it's
I
like,
can imagine.
like body parts and shit under the like.
Ugh,
Dude, people don't realize like the railroad I work for, we average about one death a week. You
really?
don't see it in the paper, but
Wow.
yeah, and all that shit's floating around on trains, dude.
Ugh,
It's insane. It's
ugh,
crazy, dude.
ugh. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's oof, that is a
yeah.
hard pass for me.
Yeah, it's crazy. But, I don't know, man. I always have fun anyway, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, I've had a couple jobs where I actually loved doing them. Like, I
Mhm.
mean, listen, the stuff that I do now, like, going out and doing photos for a company, I enjoy that. Obviously, being a musician and doing all that stuff, I very much so enjoy that. Um, but like regular jobs, like I worked at a haunted house for 2 years in a row. Dude, one of the best jobs I've ever had in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
Me,
working around fun.
oh, dude, me and scaring people. One of those, oh no,
Fucking
yeah, one of the
mosquito.
mosquitoes, man. Scaring people was one of the funnest or most fun things that I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
And now I go into haunted houses and I judge haunted houses on how good they are performance wise.
Right, right.
Because
How do you
it's different.
not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's different now. Like when, before I used to go into haunted houses, I'm like, oh my God, this guy's scary. And then like, you walk in when you've been working at one and you're like looking at corners, and you're looking at walls, and you're like, that's a false wall. And you walk up to it and like it slowly opens and they're like, and you're like, you suck, dude.
Right, right.
There was a couple haunted houses that I've been to over the years after that I'm like, oh, you guys are good.
Yeah.
You guys take this seriously.
Do you have a favorite one on Long Island? Because there's a
So
lot that's set up around here.
so I used to work at Bayville Screen Park.
That's always what I've
And
heard is like
and
the best.
Bayville Screen Park, in my opinion, it's a little overpriced.
Okay.
It's a little overpriced. I mean, shit. Now it's probably like I worked there 10 years ago,
Okay.
so it's probably like $100 for all 6 parks.
Holy shit.
But basically they put all the delinquents in like 1 or 2 parks, and then they put their actual like real deal actors in Bloodworth,
Okay.
which is their like haunted house type deal. And then they have the clown house, which is Dr. Needles. That's where I used to work.
Okay.
And Dr. Needles was a blast, dude. Absolute blast. And it's cool because like in those haunted houses, basically they're building it's their walls, right?
Mhm.
And those walls, I mean, it's a huge warehouse. Those walls only go up, say, 10 feet. So when you look up, you see the top of the warehouse, but you don't see how high the top of the warehouse is. So we used to scare somebody at the front, jump on boxes, hop the walls, and then go 3 rooms in, jump down, and wait for that same family or same couple to walk through. And they freak out because they're like, how'd you get in front of me?
Right,
It
right.
was it was some of the most fun I've ever had at a job. And I
Right.
could just imagine how like how it would be working at like Halloween Horror Nights or something like that,
Yeah.
where it's like, big time promotions. They're getting real deal, they're pulling people in from all over the country because they're like, "Oh, you're a horror actor? Cool. Come in and, you know, come in and work
Right.
for us."
Yeah, dude, you know what I wish? Like, I wish that when you're younger in school, like, cause kids like me and you, man, like, we're not going to fucking corporate 9 to 5s. We're
No.
not getting smashed into that
No.
fucking round hole. Like, we're
Nope.
square pegs, dude.
Yep,
It's
exactly.
like, I wish that they would tell you when you're younger that you can actually make a living doing things you love. It
Yes.
might be hard at times, or you got to figure it out and you got to have a passion.
Of
But
course.
like, I think just in general, dude, people should just fucking chase what they love. Like, chase your fucking dreams and,
To an extent.
like we're talking about, like, figuring out how to make your lifestyle what you love and all
Yeah.
that, like,
It's for
yeah,
certain
to a certain
people,
extent.
but
Oh, it's not for everyone.
certain
It's
people,
not for
it
everyone.
ain't for every motherfucker. I would say it's only for like 30% of people. You
Tops,
know?
dude.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
tops. That's what I'm
yeah.
saying. Like, and
But I think you should try, man. There's too
trying's
many
one thing.
miserable
But I also
motherfuckers.
think that people at certain points need to realize, like, hey, dickhead, you're not gonna become, the next Steve Aoki.
Right,
So, like, go back to Domino's and
right,
go get a regular job. You
right.
know, there's certain people that just listen. You a Sopranos guy?
I mean, when I was younger, I watched them.
Some people just never have the makings of a varsity athlete.
Right, right.
It is what it is.
Yeah,
And there's definitely certain people that I know that I see them trying.
right,
And Tyler Sheridan, the dude that wrote Yellowstone, Mayor of Kingstown, 1883, Tulsa King, all this stuff, right? He said in an interview, because they were like, "Hey, like you were an actor before this," and he was in like Sons of Anarchy and like another couple things. Um, he was like, "Yeah, it just didn't work out,"
right,
and they're like, "Well, why?" And he goes, "I've never seen somebody bash their head up against the wall for 20 years and get a different result." He goes, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, maybe. He's like, 20 years. He's like, the chances of you really breaking
right,
after 20 years is so slim to none. So you get guys and girls that are doing music for a living, right? They go out, they tour a little bit. I know people that I toured with 15 years ago that they're still playing in front of 30 to 50 kids a night.
wow.
They don't want to give up that dream. And like, listen, I don't get me wrong. I commend the spirit.
Effort.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
commend
yeah.
the effort. Sometimes you just got to be like, this ain't for me,
Right,
you
right,
know? And I see a lot of people just, they ruin their personal lives and personal relationships because they want to chase this thing
right.
that the chances of that happening are so slim to none.
Right.
Sometimes you got to be a realist, man.
Yeah, I do agree, but like even in a sense of that, like even if that's your thing, like maybe you have a college degree or something, like even like removed from that, like go work at a guitar company or like go
Yes.
do like you could I feel like you could always be in like in the ballpark of
Yeah.
something you love.
Yes.
You know, like, yeah, you might not be the best motorcycle fabricator, but like, I don't know, maybe you could work for SNS, or like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. At least
Exactly.
be in the ballpark is still
Yes.
better than
Yes.
like being in a fucking cubicle
Yeah.
somewhere. Like,
Well, a lot of
you
people
know,
in bands, a lot of people that don't do well in bands end up working for bands, and
mm-hmm.
that's dude,
Yeah, be a guitar tech or something. Like, I
dude,
don't know.
listen, I'll tell you this.
Like do some
I'll
shit
tell
like
you,
that.
a lot of people don't know this. A lot of people don't know this. Wait.
Pro tip right here.
Oh, shit.
What happened? Oh, we hit another half hour?
Look. Yeah, start recording like 4 minutes ago.
Does that mean we lost audio too?
No, we don't lose audio.
Just that one camera got
We
lost.
just lose the camera. So
But
it's
not
whatever.
this one.
I only have this one camera working.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it doesn't tell me when it stops.
Gotcha.
So right now it's 4:39. We got like another half hour left.
I got to do a 5-minute cap, dude. I got to roll.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's totally fine.
Okay.
So you want to roll at what? In 5 or?
5, yeah.
Okay. Oh, 5 p.m. Okay.
No. 5 minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Oh, we got
yeah.
okay, we got to wrap it
Yeah,
up.
that's
Okay.
like as maximum I got.
That's totally fine.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
totally fine.
Yeah, we could do a part 2, but
listen, we'll eventually do
I
a
could
part
be a
2.
regular if you want.
That is A-okay. I'll take that. No problem. But yeah, some people just don't have the makings of a varsity athlete.
No, they just don't. They don't.
And it is what it is.
Yeah.
Where are you? Okay. What motorcycle events do you have for the rest of the year?
Well, the block party.
Yes.
In 2 days from now.
Yep.
I would like to get to a little pre-party action tomorrow.
Yeah.
Quick little hit at there. I don't know if you'd consider that a bike event though. And then like I said, I'm hitting the road, going hunting. One of the things I'm doing, there's a race in Maryville, Tennessee.
Cool.
So one of my friends that I'm hunting with in Nashville, I'm going there the week before, and he's a racer. He'll be racing that following week.
Cool.
And then motorcycle wise, that's it, man.
Yeah.
Motorcycle wise, I'm like
Yeah.
ready to pack it up, and I usually do. Like it's
Yeah.
hunting season, you know. Like
Yeah.
then I'll be hunting Tennessee again after that, and then upstate New York for a week, and then the following week I go out to Colorado for the first week of November.
Awesome.
Elk hunting, and then just deer hunting up
Yeah.
in the Northeast after that.
Awesome.
So like for me, it's like I look at it as like motorcycle season, hunting season.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So like motorcycle wise, the next thing I'll do is fucking Mama Tried in February.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be
You know?
home. So I'll be home. Man, I think we're trying to be home for a long while. I think we're trying to be home for the first 8 months of next year. I think we're
Whoa.
taking off a long time. So realistically, I will be seeing you at the
Lot of events.
occasional bike event.
Cool.
Bike week. If we're home, bike week is a 100%.
Okay.
That is definitely 100%. I would really like to go to Tennessee this year.
Oh, dude, that's another one I don't miss.
And you told me that last time.
Yeah.
I've never done TMMR.
It's the best, dude.
Never done TMMR. Try to get back out to Born Free in Cali, and then really try and hit Sturgis. I'd really try and really would like to hit that.
Yeah.
But
Are you going to be
unfortunately-
podcasting a lot this winter?
So
That's something I
Yes.
plan on. I got a
So-
lot of local stuff planned.
yeah. So luckily now with this, full setup going on, there's a couple other things that I got to do to get this running properly, get that camera set up and whatnot. But yeah, there's definitely a couple things that I got to hit, and I'll be ripping as much as possible. I'll be recording as much as possible. I got a couple things that I got to set up with my rig this week, and then I'll be here ripping through YouTube videos, podcasting, stuff like that.
Dude, what's going to be like the main focus like on this run of the podcast for you? Like we were talking about pro wrestling before. Like
Yeah.
I've already reached out to a couple heavy hitters.
Yeah.
No luck yet, but we'll see.
My thing
Like,
is,
I would love to. I want to
do-
have them all. I want to have musicians, pro wrestlers. Like
nowadays.
I want it all, man.
Originally, I wanted it to be people that were both in the motorcycle world and in the music world.
Right.
But I realized that niche was super small. So I think I'm just going to go outside of it and just get people that are just people I'm friends with, cool people, obviously have it rooted in music and
Right.
motorcycles and stuff like that. But like, step outside of the box a little bit.
Yeah.
Have a couple people. I mean, dude, I'd love to have my cousin on. My cousin builds ships. He's a shipbuilder.
No shit.
He's a big time boat builder.
Okay.
And I would love to have somebody like that on.
Right.
Eventually have just random cool people and be like, hey, you're interesting. Come on the podcast.
Right.
That's
That's how I feel too. It's like mine will always orbit around cars, motorcycles, artists,
custom
and the
custom
hunting
culture.
world of
Yeah,
sorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird subcultures that I'm into.
Yeah.
But I would love to have that handful of like, I got a fucking pro wrestler on this week.
Yeah.
Or
It
a
would be
fucking
cool.
comedian. Or
Yeah.
like but that all orbits around like my interests.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's how I look at it. It
Yeah.
sounds like you're pretty much
Same
on the
thing,
same
man.
page.
Same page.
Like I don't
So-
think there's anything wrong nowadays. Like even if you're listening to a fucking really heavy, like it's just a metal podcast, and
Yeah.
you're expecting to get metal and
Nah.
hardcore guys.
I want-
but every
I
now
want-
and then a fucking maybe a comedian that you ran into at a
Yes.
show comes on. Like
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that
No,
nowadays.
and that's what I want to do.
Like-
I just want cool people. I want cool conversations. I want people to get more of an insight into what, our worlds are and how we live. Hey man, you ride bikes for a living. What's it like being out on the road 300 days a year?
right.
I want to bring those stories and those things to people that don't necessarily know about the culture or know the culture and are just interested in cool stories,
Right.
you know?
Right.
We got to wrap it up because you got to handle stuff.
Yeah.
Where can
I'm a
people
degenerate, dude.
where
I'm
can people
sorry.
find you? Promote yourself.
You could find me at The Crazy Gentleman on Instagram, thecrazygentleman.com. I mean, that's hit me there,
Yeah.
man, you know?
Instagram, listen, Instagram and the website for the podcast is your tip top.
That's all I
That's
do,
it.
man. And then just come find me at events, man. I always tell people, like, I get too many messages. I hate getting these messages that are like, oh, I saw you at an event, or like, oh, I didn't know you were there. Like, dude, just reach out. Like,
Yeah.
I love either saying hi to people or people come and saying hi to me. Like,
Yes.
dude, that's what it's all about. That's what I'm here for.
It's a
I
community,
love
man.
people. That's
Yeah.
why I do this, man.
Yeah.
I love talking to people. Like, even if it's like off the podcast, that's why I
Yeah.
do the podcast.
Yeah.
I love interesting conversations with interesting people.
I agree.
I
I'm the
don't
same
care
way,
if
man.
there's a microphone or not.
Exactly.
Like, come and say hi. And also, if you're a fan, dude, you're supporting me
Yes.
one way or another. Like, thank you. Come say
Yeah,
hi. Like,
exactly.
someone reached out to me today. Was like, hey, I bought some merch, but I didn't see the stickers for sale on the website. So I fucking shot him my number.
Yeah.
And I was like, here's my number. If you swing through the block party this weekend, just fucking text me. I will directly come. I'll hit you with a stack of stickers.
Slam
Like,
stickers. I got my
yeah,
stickers
like-
over at my
Like,
desk.
I'm into that, man. Like,
Yeah.
come say hi. Like,
Yeah.
I'm there. I'm a man of the people,
I love that.
you know?
All right. Hey, listen, I appreciate you taking the time out, even though your day is obnoxiously busy.
It's
And I know
so crazy, dude.
you're like, I'll be there at 2:30. Wait,
Yeah.
I'll be there at 3. I only got till this time. Da, 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 da,
Yeah.
You know?
This whole week,
So-
I mean, that's why I canceled yesterday. Like, this
Exactly.
whole fucking week has been
Yeah.
a dumpster fire, dude.
Hey, man.
Like I
I
said,
know how
it's
it is.
trying to get ready for the block party. Then I'm trying to go away, and like, I don't even have fucking a spare couple hours between now and trying to get away to Tennessee.
It's,
you
you know
like,
what? As long
crazy.
as you're enjoying it
and
you're
that's
having
what I
a good
tell
time,
people. Like,
that's all that matters.
I'm happy about it, but the bottom line is it's fucking busy. But I'm not
Fucking
upset
amen
about
to
it.
that.
You know?
Well, hey,
Yeah.
listen, let's wrap it. We'll see you guys next time. And this is obviously not the not the last time that I'm going to have Rob on. So I'll see you guys later.
That's it. Thank you so
That's
much,
it.
Tim.
Done.
See you guys next time.
All right, cool.